In this video, we're going to learn about the order of operations. And so I had previously mentioned this very briefly in another video, but I'll mention it here again in more detail. Before we start any of those, we need to understand what I mean by bed mass. B, E, D, M, A, S. So bed mass stands for brackets, which are these things, exponents, which, if you remember, are just the little things in the corner, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So all that this means is we have to follow this order when we evaluate some sort of expression. An expression is just some combination of numbers and symbols, which means we have to do the brackets first, or figure out what's inside of the brackets, if there are any, and then apply all the exponents if there are any exponents, and then all the divisions, and then all the multiplications, the additions, and the subtractions. So here's an example. And I'll write bed mass here just so we can remember this. So 3 times 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Are there any brackets? Well, I don't see any brackets here, so that one's done. I also don't see any exponents, so this one is finished. But I do see a division. And so let's do this division right here. 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And now all the divisions are done. Next, we can look at the multiplications. Yes, there's a multiplication here. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now there are no more multiplications, so additions are next. Yes, there's an addition right here. 6 plus 2 is 8. And there were no subtractions. So we're done. 8 is our answer. Now, is bed mass important? Well, I'll show you what happens if we tried this in a different way. 3 times 2, I'm just going to copy it here. 3 times 2 plus 4 divided by 2. What if I just went from left to right? Meaning I evaluated this first, 3 times 2, which is 6. And then left to right again, 6 plus 4 is 10. And then 10 divided by 2 is 5. Notice that we did not get the same answer. And that's why the order is important. If you don't do math in the proper order, you might get the wrong number. So this is incorrect. But this way over here is correct. Let's try it again on another example. So bed mass. Are there any brackets? No. Are there any exponents? No. Are there divisions? Yes. So I see a division right here. 3 divided by 2. Well, okay, we could either go into decimals for this, or we could do fractions. I'm going to do fractions. So 3 divided by 2 is just 3 over 2. We'll say it like that. 3 over 2 times 5 plus 7 minus 8 times 5. Okay, so we finished all the divisions. Are there any multiplications? Well, yes, there's one multiplication right here, and there's another multiplication right here. I'm going to do both of them in the same step, although you could take your time and do one multiplication per step. 3 over 2 times 5, well, this is a fraction, so we need to turn the 5 into a fraction by putting it over 1. And then 3 times 5 is 15 over 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 7 minus, well, what's 8 times 5? That's going to be 40. Now we're finished all the multiplications. On to the additions. So I see one addition right here. Addition meaning a plus. Now, in order to do this addition, we have to change the 7 into a fraction. We also have to get a common denominator, which means we have to multiply the 1 times 2 and the 7 times 2. So in the next step, we'll have 15 over 2 plus, well, what's 7 times 2? That's 14 over 2 minus 40. Now that we have the same denominator, we can just pair them. So they're both over 2. 15 plus 14 is 29 minus 40. All right, so we're finished all of the additions. There's only subtraction left. Let's change the 40 to be over a fraction as well and get common denominators, which requires us to multiply each of them by 2. And so 29 over 2 minus 80 over 2 is, I'm going to write it up here because I ran out of room down there, 29 over 2 minus 80 over 2. They have the same denominator, so we can say over 2. It's whatever 29 minus 80 would be. So remember our example with positive and negative numbers. 80 is bigger than 29 and it's negative. So this means that we're going to get whatever 80 minus 29 is, but it's going to be negative. So 80 minus 29, well, that's going to make 51, but it's negative. So negative 51 over 2. Negative 51 over 2. And that will be our final answer. This next one, these can get pretty complicated, so I wanted to show you some examples that are worth practicing. Let's go through the steps one more time. So brackets this time. Yes, there are brackets. This is the stuff that's inside of a set of brackets. So we have to answer that first before we do anything else. So easy enough. What is 3 plus 5? Well, that's going to be 8. Our brackets are finished. Exponents are next. So it may not look like it, but yes, there are exponents in this example. Because if you remember, a square root of something is the same as raising it to the power of 1/2. So this would be the time to do any square roots or any cube roots or any roots of any kind, or any exponents if there were any that were not roots. So what is the square root of 16? It's a number that when you multiply it by itself, you get 16. So the answer is 4. So this square root of 16 would be 4. And everything else stays the same. I'm going to write 2 times 8 like this, just because 2 and then a set of brackets and then 8 would make 2 times 8. And now we're done with the exponents. So division is next. I see a division right here. 8 divided by 4. So this is 2 times 8 divided by 4 is 2 plus 1. Now the divisions are finished. There's one multiplication here. We have to apply that. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1. Now the multiplications are done. And then there's only an addition left. So 4 plus 1 is 5. And we're done. Additions are done. There were no subtractions, so that's done. So 5 is our answer. As I mentioned, these can become more and more and more complicated. So again, we just, even though this looks scary, just do the exact same steps that we did. Bed mass. Bed mass is a great way to manage very chaotic mathematical expressions such as this one. So bed mass suggests that we answer what's in the brackets first. So I see this set of brackets here. It looks like this. There's also this set of big square brackets. And inside there's another set of brackets, so we can deal with this in a moment. It's actually worth making these separate questions before returning to the main question. So 2 plus 4 minus 3. And I'll write this up here, I suppose. 500 minus 2 minus 5. Okay, so we'll have to figure out what these are before returning to the main question. Now, when we do this, we actually have to do another set of BIDMAS for every single bracket. So I'll do this one first. Are there any brackets in this? In 2 plus 4 minus 3? No. Are there any exponents? No. Are there divisions? No. Are there multiplications? No. Are there additions? Yes. I see an addition right here. 2 plus 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6. And then the additions are done. Subtraction would be next, which is 6 minus 3, which is 3. Over here, we have to do another set of BIDMAS here. So, question 1, are there any brackets in our expression? Yes. So we have to answer that first. Meaning, what is 2 minus 5? 2 minus 5 would be negative 3. Remember that 5 is bigger than 2, and 5 is negative and 2 is positive, so we get negative 3. Next, we have exponents, none. Division, there are none. Multiplication, sort of. There's one right here, technically, because we have two symbols next to each other. Two negatives that are next to each other like that will make a positive. Additions, yes, there's an addition, so this would make 503. All right, so we went off on two little side tangents. We found that the first set of brackets is 3, and the second set of brackets is 503. So I'm just going to have to rewrite all of this so that we remember what we were doing here. So minus 3 times the bracket we said was 3, thanks to this. Still to the power of 4, because we never raised it to the power of 4 yet, plus another set of brackets, and we figured out that everything in there will make 503. That was because of the result that we got here. Okay, this is looking a little bit better. So we finished the B in the BIDMAS. We got all the brackets. Next, we have to look for exponents. Well, I see one exponent right here, which is 3 to the power of 4. So that would be the same as 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. And another 3 times 3 is another 9. So 9 times 9 would be 81. So 3 to the power of 4 is 81 for that reason. let's rewrite that. So negative 3 times 81 plus 503. Okay, so we did the exponent. So E is done in our bed mass. Next, are there any divisions? No. Are there multiplications? Yes. I see multiplication right here. Negative 3 times 81. So a negative times a positive, 81, would be a negative. So 3 times 81 is 243. So we end up with negative 243 plus 503. And so now we're finished the multiplication. Is there an addition? Yes, the last thing here is an addition. It's negative 243 plus 503. If we add those together, remember that they're in opposing directions, so you're going to get the difference between the two of them. But the answer should be positive because 503 is bigger, and it's the one that's positive. So the answer here is 260. So 260 is our final answer. And one more, last but not least, let's apply bedmass to this big fraction. So these can be very confusing. One way that you could interpret this is the big line that separates these two here. This suggests that it's one giant fraction. And remember that fractions are just a division. So it's as though we had the entire top half, 3 plus 2 times 5 minus 1 squared, divided by the entire bottom half, 4 squared plus 5 minus 2 times 4 minus 7, close bracket. Now, it's not typical to see it this way all the time. Normally, people just calculate this in the fraction, but I just wanted to show you it. I want to show you how to do it this way for this time, just so you can picture what's happening with the order of operations. So brackets are B for brackets. We have to solve all of this first and all of this before we can continue. So 3 plus 2 times 5 minus 1 squared. We need a new bed mass for this one. Well, okay. Are there brackets? Yes, there's a 5 minus 1 in a set of brackets here. So we have to answer that first. 3 plus 2 times 5 minus 1 is 4 squared. And now the brackets are finished. Next, are there exponents? Well, yes, there's 4 raised to the power of 2, which is 4 times 4, which is 16. So 3 plus 2 times 16. Exponents are done. Are there divisions? No. No divisions. Are there multiplications? Yes, there's a multiplication right here. 3 plus, well, 2 times 16 is 32. Are there additions? Yes, there's an addition right here. 3 plus 32 is 35. And so that would be the result of our first set of brackets. Now we have to do the next set of brackets, which was this other thing that I circled in blue. All right, it's here. Yeah, right here. 4 squared plus 5 minus 2 times 4 minus 7. Okay, this requires its own set of BEDMAS. Are there brackets? Yes. There's a 5 minus 2 in a set of brackets, and there's also a 4 minus 7 in another set of brackets. So 4 squared plus 5 minus 2 is 3, times 4 minus 7 is going to be negative 3. Exponents. So yes, there's a set of exponents right here, 4 squared. That's going to be 16. It's 4 times 4, plus 3 times negative 3. Okay, exponents are done. Are there divisions? No. Are there multiplications? Yes. Right here. Oops. Right here. 16 plus or minus, I guess. If you have a plus and a minus and they're multiplied, it's actually going to be a minus. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Now our multiplication is finished. Are there additions? No. Are there subtractions? Yes. There's one subtraction right here. 16 minus 9. So 16 minus 9 is 7. And then we're finished with this internal BEDMAS. And we got the answer of the set of brackets. So the first set of brackets, we got 35. The second set of brackets, we got 7. And now we're asked to divide the contents of those two things. So this is actually just saying 35 divided by 7. And 35 divided by 7 is 5. So 5 would be our final answer. So as you can see, these can get pretty complicated, but if you take your time and you just follow BEDMAS, it doesn't have to be so bad. It sort of just breaks this down into step by step. Anyways, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.